Have you ever noticed how some people always seem curious, asking questions that make you think differently? High IQ individuals are like that naturally. They don't just want answers, they want understanding. Psychology shows that highly intelligent people ask certain types of questions almost automatically, and these questions shape how they think, learn, and make decisions. Here are the questions they ask most often, without even realizing it. 1. Why does? Question 1. This happen? High IQ people rarely take things at face value. When something occurs, they automatically want to understand the root cause, not just the surface effect. Psychologists call this causal reasoning, the ability to trace events back to their origins, them to analyze situations deeply and avoid repeating mistakes. For example, if a friend is upset, instead of just asking, "Are you okay?" they wonder, "Why is my friend feeling this way? What triggered it?" This goes beyond curiosity. It's a way of mapping the world in layers, understanding how actions and events connect. 2. What if? Question 2. I tried it differently. Innovation and problem solving are natural for high IQ minds. They often think in terms of possibilities, asking, could this be done in another? Psychologists call this counterfactual thinking, the ability to imagine alternative scenarios and outcomes. It's why highly intelligent people often come up with creative solutions when others feel stuck. For example, if they're working on a project and something goes wrong, instead of blaming circumstances, they ask, what could I have done differently? What's another approach? This habit leads to better strategies, faster problem solving, and even breakthroughs in unexpected areas. Question 3. 3. What am I missing? One of the hallmarks of intelligence is self-awareness. High IQ people know they don't know everything, so they constantly question their own understanding. Psychologists call this metacognition, or thinking about your own thinking by asking, what am I missing? They check for gaps in their knowledge, reduce mistakes, and avoid overconfidence. Even in daily life, they tend to listen more than they speak, trying to see the full picture before making judgments. This habit allows them to make informed decisions and understand complex topics that others might overlook. Question 4. 4. How does this connect to something else? Highly intelligent individuals are natural pattern seekers. They don't just see isolated facts. They want to understand how things link together. Psychologists call this systems thinking. It's the ability to understand how different components interact within a bigger picture. For instance, reading about a historical event might lead them to ask, how does this affect culture, economy, and human behavior today? This question shows a deep analytical mindset connecting ideas across multiple fields, which enhances learning and decision-making. Question 5. 5. Is this the best explanation? High IQ people rarely accept the first answer. They constantly evaluate evidence, reasoning, and assumptions. Psychologists call this critical thinking, and it's a hallmark of high intelligence. They ask questions like, is this really true? Could there be another reason? Even in small social situations, this habit shows up. If someone says something that seems off, they might internally ask, is this the real reason or is there more behind it? This ensures their judgments are accurate and it prevents misunderstandings or rash decisions. Question 6. 6. What can I learn from this? 4. Highly intelligent individuals, every experience is a lesson. They ask, what can I take away from this situation? Even during mistakes or failures. Psychologists call this reflective thinking, turning life experiences into knowledge. If they face a challenge, instead of feeling defeated, they think, what did this teach me about myself, others, or the world? This habit turns even small life events into opportunities for growth, making learning continuous and automatic. Question 7. 7. What's next? High IQ people are forward-thinking. They rarely focus only on the present. They naturally ask what comes after this. Psychologists call this perspective thinking. It's about predicting outcomes, planning ahead, and adapting to future challenges. Even in small decisions like choosing a book or project, they consider what opportunities or challenges will this create in the future. This habit gives them an edge in both personal and professional life, allowing smarter decisions that pay off later. 8. Why do people do what they Question 8. Do highly intelligent individuals are fascinated by human behavior? They naturally question, why does this person think, feel, or act this way? Psychologists call this social cognition, the ability to understand others' motives and emotions. By asking this question, they navigate social situations more effectively, anticipate others' actions, and build stronger relationships. For example, if a colleague reacts negatively to feedback, they ask, what underlying reasons caused this reaction? This question helps them respond wisely instead of reacting impulsively. Question 9. What's the bigger picture? High IQ people rarely just focus on the immediate details. Instead, they step back and ask themselves how a situation fits into the larger context. Psychologists say this ability to zoom out helps them connect dots that others might miss. For example, while someone else might get frustrated with a minor issue at work, a high IQ person might think, how does this affect the project as a whole? How does this impact the team? By seeing the bigger picture, they can make better decisions, anticipate problems, and plan strategically. This kind of thinking also helps them avoid getting stuck in small, insignificant details that don't matter in the long run. Question 10. Set. Could there be a hidden pattern? People with high intelligence naturally look for patterns even when others see randomness. They ask themselves if there is a connection behind events, behaviors, or trends. Psychologists say this helps them recognize opportunities, predict outcomes, and solve complex problems faster than others. For instance, they might notice subtle habits in a colleague that indicate a bigger work trend or pick up on recurring themes in data that reveal an important insight. This constant search for hidden patterns allows them to make decisions that feel almost instinctual, but are actually based on careful observation. Question 11. Act. What assumptions am I making? High IQ minds never take things at face value. They constantly question their own thinking and ask, am I assuming too much? Could I be wrong? This self-checking reduces bias, prevents mistakes, and improves accuracy in decision. Psychologists describe this as a hallmark of critical thinking, the ability to step outside your own perspective and challenge your initial thoughts. For example, instead of blindly trusting a source of information, they will pause and analyze whether they are making assumptions that aren't supported by facts. This keeps their thinking sharp and reliable. Act. Question 12. How does this affect me and others? Highly intelligent people think beyond themselves. They consider not just how a choice impacts them, but also how it affects others around them. Psychologists call this perspective taking, and it's a key trait for emotional and social intelligence. For example, before giving feedback at work, a high IQ person might ask, will this motivate my colleague or demoralize them? How will my words affect the team dynamic? This awareness helps them make smarter, more empathetic decisions that build better relationships and long-term outcomes. Question 13. Act. Could I learn something new from this? High IQ individuals approach every experience, no matter how small, as a learning opportunity. They ask themselves, what can I take away from this? How can this make me better? Psychologists note that this Curiosity-driven mindset keeps their brains sharp, adaptable, and resilient. Even routine events, mistakes, or challenges become lessons they can use to improve in the future. For instance, a simple disagreement might lead them to understand a new perspective, or a failed project might teach them a more effective strategy. This constant hunger for knowledge ensures that they are always growing mentally, emotionally, and socially. High intelligence isn't, final thoughts, just about remembering facts or solving math problems. It's about asking the right questions at the right time. These questions, why, what if, what am I missing, allow high IQ people to explore deeper, think critically, and make smarter decisions. Do you naturally ask these types of questions in your daily life? Which one do you ask the most? Comment below. I'd love to hear your answer.